We are back with Alessio on News 1575. PSG 5-0 Inter Milan. Champions League final win was biggest ever and Luis Enrique's brilliant team keeps getting better. Paris Saint-Germain won the Champions League for the first time with a 5-0 win over Inter Milan in the final. Bate reports from Munich on a record-breaking triumph that captured the imagination and could be just the start for Luis Enrique's remarkable team. Maybe it is too early to call it era-defining in the way that Real Madrid's 7-3 win in 1960 was, or AC Milan's 4-0 demolition of Barcelona seemed to be in 1994. There was Barca's win in 2011 too. But no team, not one, had ever won this trophy by 5 goals. It is an extraordinary way for Paris Saint-Germain to win the Champions League for the first time in their history. It should mark the end of a journey, but for Luis Enrique's young team their 5-0 win over Inter Milan feels like the beginning of something instead. So humiliated were Inter that they wanted the whistle when the third went in. Surely one of the great goals in Champions League final history, finished by Desire Doué. The referee obliged by sparing them stoppage time, PSG's point long since proven. Simone Inzaghi's men aged before the eyes. Statistically the oldest side in Serie A this season with an average age of 29, PSG were far too quick for them from the outset, winning possession high against a surprisingly one-paced Inter, who looked ill-equipped to cope. It was as if they were unused to such speed. Understandably so. This was Doué's night, Ousmane Dembele's season, and the pair rotated positions as Inter failed to follow. It felt like football from the future, and with an average age of 23, maybe it is PSG's future. Everywhere in this team there are new stars, new stories. Achraf Hakimi and Nuno Mendes are already the best full-back pairing in football, although even that description does them a disservice given their propensity to pop up anywhere on the football pitch. Vitinha, the former Wolves loanee, knits it together in midfield with a brand of bustling creativity. Fabian Ruiz still feels like a secret despite now propelling club and country to European honors. João Neves does the unseen work, still pressing with the game won. In Gianluigi Donnarumma, PSG had the outstanding goalkeeper in the competition, while Captain Marquinhos lends this whole enterprise its thread to the prizes and problems of the past, this marking the culmination of his 11-year journey with the club. Willian Pacho alongside him is the sort of smart signing PSG were not supposed to make. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia arrival in the winter transfer window was the final piece in the puzzle, also allowing Luis Enrique to rest his attackers enough to keep them fresh. That the 5th goal was scored by a teenage substitute born on the outskirts of Paris, a product of the academy, was almost too perfect. Seny Mayelu seemed in shock himself, his celebration suggesting that even his dreams did not include him capping the night. This club, whose growth had been marked by superstar signings often seemingly thrown together, finally had a story to tell that people wanted to see and hear. They found it closer to home, with the age-old lesson that football is a team sport taught once more. Talking to Sky Sports earlier in the afternoon, France's World Cup winner Robert Pires had outlined the shift. Luis Enrique has built a team, not names, not marketing. They changed their way, and that is what brought them here. Football is not about names. Pires explained, "In my time, I used to play against the Galacticos of Real Madrid in the 2000s. But they did not win. Football is a collective. It is not Neymar or Lionel Messi or Kylian Mbappe. They did not win either. Today, I like this Paris Saint-Germain team. It is remarkable how PSG have changed the perceptions about them. They are still Qatari-owned and now wealthier than ever." Kvaratskhelia was signed for over €70 million, £59 million, as recently as January. Many folk turn a blind eye when it is this good to watch. Claude Makelele is better placed than most to explain the transformation. He was not only a coach at PSG when they were first undergoing this change, but he was the man foolishly removed from Real Madrid's midfield to indulge those Galacticos. Speaking to him on the eve of this evisceration, he told Sky Sports, "PSG have corrected their mistakes. They were dreaming of winning it very quickly. But you need to fight. Now the humility is there. They are ready." The spark proved to be trusting in Luis Enrique. Being in the Parc des Princes to see PSG lose to Atletico Madrid in November feels an awful long time ago now, and one of the stories of this first Champions League season under the new format is that it is an epic. Those autumn results had little bearing in Munich. Since then, PSG have become another animal entirely under Luis Enrique. "People criticized him in the beginning," laughed Makelele. What will they be saying in the end? They will be saying that PSG have proved themselves to be the very best in Europe. Beating Inter so badly was just the coup de grace. They had underlined their superiority even when losing the first leg of their last 16 tie to Liverpool. For the first 20 minutes against Arsenal, they bewitched in London, and the Gunners never recovered from it. Having also beaten Manchester City in the league phase and Aston Villa in the quarterfinals, Luis Enrique has made good on his promise at the outset that this version of Paris Saint-Germain, his Paris Saint-Germain, would be better without Mbappe around. And so, this is the story of how a squad shorn of maybe the most gifted front three seen this century found itself in the process. Dewey won player of the match. Mailou got his goal. Bradley Barcola, another young French forward, should have had at least 1 too. You need to have that foundation, said Makelele. Now they have it. If that is the plan, if PSG have found a model that harnesses the talent on their doorstep while supplementing it with hungry signings from around the world, then perhaps this victory could prove to be era-defining, after all. This young team can become even better. In 2022, they had to watch on as Real Madrid and Liverpool, European aristocracy, contested the final in Paris. This was the role reversal, taking the party to Munich, home of Bayern. Beating Inter, champions of European before PSG were even founded. Belatedly, they have arrived. And while the night's most touching tifo honored Luis Enrique's daughter, it was the one displayed at the start that set the tone for the evening, for the whole story. Ensemble, Nous sommes invincibles. Together, we are invincible.